Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews. We're going to be discussing something that's a little older. It's, I think, like a day or two old. Rotten Tomatoes reviewers tank Joaquin Phoenix Joker critic score bounding into comics. The actual title has a word that I do not like to associate with, so I will not use it. More and more critic scores are coming in for Joaquin Phoenix Joker film, and Rotten Tomatoes critic score has significantly declined. Rotten Tomatoes critic score was a solid 89% back at the beginning of September, with 33 fresh reviews and 4 rotten reviews. The film average score was 9.08 out of 10. However, that score has significantly dropped, and or as of this writing, the Rotten Tomato score is now at 77% from 84 reviews. It's actually now currently at 76% with 94 reviews. There are 65 fresh reviews and 19 rotten reviews with the average of 7.87 out of 10. Joker Rotten Critic Reviews. If you take a look at new Rotten reviews, there is definitely a trend on why they dislike this movie, but I'll let you judge it for yourself. Here's what the critics giving the Rotten reviews are saying. Ella Kemp at Cultural Whisperer gives the movie 2 out of 5. She writes, "In Joker, there's no finesse, no nuance between the delusion of one narcissist and the hypnosis of an infected society ready to burn itself to the ground in the name of power." Well, that's just stupid. That's not even a real review. Nate Adams at The Only Critic gives a film a C+. There's a more audacious film lurking in Joker, yet there's no denying how the discourse that'll soak up the airwaves is exactly the type of conversation the iconic villain would want us to have. Whether we like it or not, the joke's on us. David Edelstein from The Vulture writes, "As Hannah Arendt saw banality in the supposed evil of the Nazi Adolf Eichmann, I see in the Joker an attempt to elevate nerdy revenge on the plane of myth." Gosh, that's scary on a lot of different levels. Whatever. Mary Einstein at the U.S. Weekly writes, "The predictable brand of cold-hearted cynicism is not worth your time, seriously." Lea Greenblatt at Entertainment Weekly, "A movie with the message this one hammers home again and again feels too volatile and frankly too scary to separate from the very real violence committed by young men like Joaquin Phoenix's Arthur Fleck in America almost every day." There we go. Basically saying this is just what do you call it? Justification for people to go out and commit violence. Bitch, please. Emma Stefanski at Thrillist writes, "The movie isn't badly made or even ugly to look at, but there's a mean, smug little heart at the center of it that, at best, irresponsibly frames a familiar male power fantasy as a revolutionary act." There we go with the sexism! Sarah Kerchak at Consequences of Sound she gives it a C, she writes, "There's probably a lot of fan fiction out there that's far more innovative, provocative, profane, incisive, and effective than Joker." Ouch. Joe Lipset, "Oh my god, there is just so many of them." Those are just some of them. I'm not going to get into all of them. Daniel Salzman writes, Joker isn't the traditional comic book movie and presents villains sympathetically in cringeworthy way. Critics blurring the lines, and it definitely looks like a lot of these reviewers aren't actually reviewing the film based on the merit as a film, but are instead of reviewing it based on their idea or their SJW. I'm going to use that instead of the term SJW ideology and how it fits into that. This is a rather new phenomenon, as entertainment critic Richard Rushfield points out. We've come to this bizarre place where boundaries between the roles of critic, political activist, fanboy, and box office reporter have completely dissolved. Has completely dissolved. Everything has to play a role in some larger, greater good narrative, which is fine if critics want to see the world that way and offer criticism through a lens of how does this help the movement. It's harder to justify it, or if you're supposedly covering box office for the film industry and filtering your business analysis through that lens, or that lens watered down via general media hoopla. Bah. The blurring of the lines between reviewer, political activists, and fans, boy, it's fundamentally broken the trust audiences have in Rotten Tomatoes and their critics. In fact, most people might have actually look at the critic score and believe it's crazy high. Then the movie more than likely sucks. If the reverse is true, if the film has a low critic score, it more likely is pretty good. That's actually true. The phenomenon was plain as day when the reviews for Dave Chappelle's recent Netflix special were revealed. The special currently has a 31% critic score. An audience score sits at 99%. The difference is as clear as day. The Last Jedi showed an opposite was true. The critic score sits at 91%. The audience score is a meager 44%. If the SJW review crowd sniffs any hint of politics in a film, they will make sure their reviews will reflect that. In fact, we've seen this play out with video games. Journalist Chris Scullion, or they quote journalist, Chris Scullion threatened to give the upcoming revival of Earthworm Jim a bad review because he personally disagrees with creator Doug Tnapel's views on transgender individuals. Scullion stated, "It may be or it may be trickier for me to review this one if Doug is involved. I don't mean any hard feelings or fellings or they don't even. I'm sorry, bad spelling. Feelings, man, and wish you every success with the Amico in general, whatever that means." That's right, he threatened to give the game a bad review because the creator of Earthworm Jim, Doug Tnapel, might not be involved in the upcoming video game. Or might be involved. Sorry. These are the types of critics that are featured on Rotten Tomatoes. It's why no one trusts them anymore, and why they are polling users regarding user trust. Ouch. And yeah, ever since they have, but it goes back even further than this, as everybody knows. There's the whole Captain Marvel controversy that happened, where where Rotten Tomatoes is now where it is. Back before Captain Marvel and such, you were able to say interested or not interested. Now you're only allowed to say whether you want to see it or not, because Captain Marvel went down to like 24% interested, and they then started blaming people for review bombing and whatnot. You got to see a movie to review it. All we said was not interested, and we do not like how the marketing was being inherently divisive. I mean, yeah, this all started basically with Captain Marvel. And they shilled out for that movie. They really did. But the critics, but then the, not critic score, but the audience score came out, and they shit on the movie there too. They basically showed, we don't like this movie, and so they actually erased scores. They actually erased votes and whatnot. Like over 50 some odd thousand, I think it was. And it's like, holy crap, you guys are seriously shilling for Disney. So yeah, the Rotten Tomatoes, they're no longer relevant. The only reason there is to go to Rotten Tomatoes is to look at it from an opposite's point of view. If the critics hate it, then it's probably a good movie. If the critics love it, it's probably a shit movie. Anyway, that's the video. They're all going after the Joker because it's not agenda driven the way they want it. It doesn't have an agenda that they can agree to. It's just an agendaless movie. There's no SJW nonsense in it. That's all the more reason for me to go see it. And I'll gladly give the theater and the box office my money for it. Anyway, that's the video. You guys know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Let me know down in the comments below. Do you plan on seeing the Joker? Do you like the news that it is not SJW driven? Do you basically think that it's just justification for white supremacists to go kill people? Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. This has been Orange Hat Reviews. I'll catch you all on the next one.